I saw The Batman.
Nice.
Yes, I saw it, The Batman, and I went in skeptical, of course. It's a DC film. Anybody that doesn't go into a DC film skeptical is a fool. However, I haven't seen any trailer for this movie that I didn't like. I'm a big Batman fan from the movies. You know, I'm not going to fake the funk and pretend I've read every single comic book and graphic novel that's ever been published. I've read some of them. I've picked up the graphic novels here and there. I've read The Killing Joke. I know the history. I know the background. But Batman as a character has just been a character I've been in love with since I was a little kid, you know? Matt Reeves is the director. Matt Reeves is a great director. He did, I think, the second 2 Planet of the Apes movies. He did Cloverfield, which is incredible. So, I walked in with high expectations because there was nothing that said this wouldn't be good, but trepidatious because you never know. And also, I don't want to be disappointed. Hot dog, I'm here to tell you, I was not disappointed. Not disappointed. The Batman is tremendous. It's a tremendous film. It clocks in at 3 hours. A lot of people are like, that's the headline for them. I don't mind a long movie. Especially, you go to a theater that you like. You go at a time that's smart. I went at like 11:55 in the morning so I could spread myself out a little bit. Ordered some food. Went to the Alamo, had some lunch with it. It was fantastic. What an experience.
The best theater.
Yeah, but I don't mind a long movie if you're telling a story. I prefer a story that requires 3 hours to get to 3 hours as opposed to trying to pack it into an hour and 45. I do not like a short movie that clearly needed more exposition. I found this to be, it's very difficult to consider that they would find a new take on Batman. There have been so many Batmans. Like I said, the Adam West stuff, the Tim Burton stuff that turned into the Joel Schumacher stuff, the animated series, the Ben Affleck stuff, which we kind of try to forget entirely, the Christopher Nolan universe, obviously, like so much. I found this one to be probably, to me, the most reality-based Batman I've ever seen. More reality-based, more real-world-based, I think, than the Christopher Nolan movies.
The angle that I haven't seen yet, and you could or you couldn't tell me if it is a spoiler. I don't know, but like the angle I haven't seen yet is Batman being more of a detective, which is like
I'm glad
kind of what he used to be.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm gonna do it without spoilers. But yeah, for sure, this movie's really cool because it takes place, basically the whole movie takes place over 1 week. We're 2 years into Batman being Batman. Batman has existed for 2 years at the start of this movie. So this is not an origin thing. This is not, and we don't have, we all know the backstory. We all know how it happened. It's been covered. So we don't cover anything that we've already done. And we kind of learn what we need to know about the character throughout the film. But this is absolutely far more of a kind of detective noir film.
Cool.
Than any of the other Batman movies have been. And what's great about this, too, is I think where a lot of superhero movies screw up is they just make it a movie about the character, right? Like, it's just like, this is a movie about Batman, and we follow Batman around, and they tell a story arc of Batman. As opposed to doing what this movie did, which is follow Batman through a story. You know what I mean? Like, you're basically, that's what makes it feel like a detective story. That you're following one mission, one story that Batman is on. And there's a beginning, middle, end of it. And that's what we're watching. We're not seeing this arc of Batman. We're not seeing, here's the beginning of Batman and the end of Batman. This is a story about Batman. Like, nope. This is the story of when the Riddler started terrorizing Gotham. And how
DC should have done that, started doing that a long time ago, because they're very good at the animated movies. I don't know if you've ever watched them, like on Netflix or whatever. They're always like isolated stories with like their superheroes. They've never been able to translate that into like the DC universe, cinematic universe.
Yeah, no, this is, and that's what makes this well done. And it makes it feel like you could do more Batman movies now in this style. because it's like, it's almost it would feel like volumes. It would feel like volumes of a graphic novel. And this is by far as well. This movie feels more like a graphic novel interpretation than any of the other movies have felt like. I mean, maybe with the exception of like the animated series, but this feels like somebody loved the graphic novels and adapted those graphic novels to a real movie as opposed to just taking elements and turning it into a big Hollywood thing. Like, the beginning, there's this voiceover narration, and it feels like the film version of the beginning of a graphic novel where you see the boxes with the writing where it's just like the inner monologue of the hero. You know what I mean? I've been walking Gotham for 2 years. Ba 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 ba. And it's like that hasn't really been done before because it's not a film thing. It's more of a graphic novel thing. But I loved that they did that. Robert Pattinson, controversial choice for Batman. A lot of people when it was announced were like, fuck that noise. I don't want Twilight in my Batman. You know what I mean? They're like, Twilight.
How many people were going to say that before they realized that it doesn't matter what they played before? Like, it's happened so many times now with casting.
Of course. It's how the character is interpreted. Now, I have seen that there are some there. This is a very emo Batman. But to me, this is difficult to do, right? Is to not only find a new way to tell the Batman story, but this is the first time that Bruce Wayne has been shown the way Bruce Wayne is in this movie. He's not a playboy. He's not a philanthropist. He's not a socialite. He's this like kind of weird, pasty recluse. Like he doesn't leave the house. He's not out on the town. He's not living this double life. Like people know that he survived. You know what I mean? Like people, of course, his parents were still extremely famous. The Wayne fortune is something that defines Gotham, and everybody knows who Bruce Wayne is. But he's not out on the town driving Porsches to the clubs and hanging out with girls and doing this and doing that. So to me, Robert Pattinson becomes the perfect choice to play this version of that character because he doesn't look like a playboy. He is Secret Bay, though, of course. He's like, in one scene, when he's trying to put things together, he does take his shirt off so you can see the shape that he's in. So you're like, oh, he is secretly Bay, but also dark and mysterious and brooding. And honestly, when you're trying to make a hunk for this generation, it does feel more like, we're kind of living in the era of the anti-billionaire. You know what I mean? Where it's just like that sort of tall, lanky, pasty, sad boy. Probably got a big dick. Is the guy that
man's packing.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, but that is the new sort of sex symbol, right? Like the Pete Davidson type, right? That's not like all the jocks are sitting there going like, what? How did he get Kim Kardashian? And you're like, that's what's in style now. Like the sort of emo, pasty, lanky, sad boy.
As Joker next movie.
The villains in this movie are incredible. I mean, I don't have to tell you that Paul Dano is an amazing actor. I mean, I've loved Paul Dano for a long time. He was in the movie Identity starring John Cusack, a movie that's not brought up enough, but is awesome. Love that movie. But I think, most people remember Paul Dano rose to fame big in There Will Be Blood. He played the twins. But he's so good as the Riddler. Like so good. Scary, acts like not like a super villain killer, but like how a killer might actually act. Like he's not super graceful. Colin Farrell as the Penguin, unbelievable, just fantastic. He completely gets lost in the character. He adds so much to it. It's dangerous. It's funny. It's believable. There's so many great moments as the Penguin. The makeup is good. It doesn't look fake. He's perfect. There were elements that were like cheesy comic booky, like kind of how some of the drugs are portrayed, some of the stuff that Batman says, like when he's kind of describing the character. But honestly, I thought it worked because it's still, when you read like a super serious graphic novel, there's still elements in there that make it feel like a comic book. And that's why I felt on that level it worked. there were a couple of moments, like, I didn't like the third act as much. I thought that the first 2 acts were great. The third act starts to get a little bit bigger, like bigger superhero stuff starts happening. And it kind of made me feel like Matt Reeves had this idea to make this like kind of smaller, like I said, detective noir movie. And then the studio came in and said, no, we need like something bigger. And so
bombastic ending.
Right. And so they threw in this third act, which I think, for me, I would have preferred to keep it small like we were doing before. I didn't need the big. Like, I think Christopher Nolan does big perfectly. I thought Matt Reeves was he did Cloverfield. So, keeping it small, I feel like he's awesome at. There was a scene when Batman base jumped, which, we're getting into the nitty gritty, and I thought that was a little cheese, a little cringe. But other than that, yeah, I thought it was really, really good. It's not better than The Dark Knight. I don't think. That's the debate that's going on.
Any of the movies? Any of the Dark Knight movies?
Well, I love Dark Knight Rises, and people think I'm an idiot for liking Dark Knight Rises. They're like, Dark Knight Rises is for stupid people. What are you talking about? And I'm like, I don't know. I like Dark Knight Rises. I find it to be exceptionally watchable.
Is it better than Batman Begins?
Yeah, it's for sure better than Batman Begins. I was not missing any of that Raj Al Ghul bullshit in this one at all. It's definitely better than Batman Begins.
I love Raj Al Ghul.
All right. Remember when Raj Al Ghul was like, Batman, I have a certain set of skills. And I didn't need any of it. Yeah, better than Batman Begins. Probably better than Dark Knight Rises. Probably better than Dark Knight Rises. Yeah. It might be the second best or third best. Yeah, Batman movie for sure. It's up there.
Those are high marks.
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's definitely the best thing DC has done in a long time. Let's forget Ben Affleck ever did anything with this character. I think
better than Joker. Joker was good.
Okay, I'm glad you brought up Joker because I'm watching it, and not that this is hinted towards or that there's been rumors of this. This is not a thing. This is a thing that I just made up in my head. But realistically, I'm a big fan of the Joker movie. I don't consider it a Batman movie, even though I guess little tiny Bruce Wayne is in it for a hot sec. But Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker, I think could fit in this movie. In this universe. I think that there is a version, because Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker goes into Arkham while Bruce is still a kid. So I do think that there's a version, if you wanted to bring Joaquin into this world, I think it could work. I don't think that that's probably where they'll go, but I do think that it could work. That's the style of movie it is, where it is. There's plenty of stuff that you go, well, that wouldn't happen, but it is far more based in reality than any of the other movies. There are a couple of moments that are spoiled by the trailer. The trailer, what's coming next because you saw it in the trailer, but not to the point where it ruins anything. It's not any spoilers. It's just as the scene is unfolding, you go, oh, okay, I know that this is where that moment is coming. And it is a story that requires the amount of time. At no point did the movie feel long. When the movie ended, I didn't feel exhausted by it. I could see how they could have cut some off. Like I said, Act 3 was not perfect for me, but if they were like, yeah, we're not going to touch this. This is the way it's being presented. I'd be like, no, it's a great movie. It's a great movie. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, I would see it again when it comes out on digital. I get it for sure, and I'll watch it again. It's a
Get
good
that 4K Blu-ray.
Oh yeah, hopefully Steelbook.